Good evening, everyone. Welcome to America's Third Party, Tangential Tuesday.
I'm Sarah Hart, and we are doing a recording every single weeknight. Join us every single weeknight for a live chat.
Tonight, Tangential Tuesday is going to address some of the topics of the day. We've got some doozies right now, and we also will talk a little bit about the healthcare crisis in America and what we can do to make it run more efficiently. Okay, starting
Let's
out.
start with the verdict that came in today, with Bradley Manning's verdict.
Right. Bradley Manning's verdict came up. Apparently, the WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, is condemning the Manning verdict and asking Obama to free Bradley Manning. Apparently, Bradley Manning got a guilty verdict. That's the final word. And I think that the American people have had very little to say about it because it was tried in military court, of course. Military judge convicted Bradley Manning over the biggest leak of classified documents in U.S. history. And I want to go on record for everyone to know that I will give Bradley Manning amnesty when I'm president. I will pardon him, and I will not in any way force him to serve longer than he will have served by 2017. The reason I want to do that is...
Someone said he was not convicted of the major charge, but anyway, go ahead.
The reason why I want to do that is I believe he has actually done a favor to the United States government, showing our vulnerabilities, showing our mistakes, and letting the American people know that innocents were killed in Iraq, letting other people around the world know that our country's been behaving inappropriately behind the scenes, and it has definitely affected our relations with many allies and enemies around the world. But it has opened our eyes to the reality that we've got a very rogue government underneath the surface. And I think Bradley Manning and Edward Snowden are both people that have actually done everything they could to reveal the crimes that they saw were committed under their activity at the time. Now, Edward Snowden is a different story. Edward Snowden is a person who obviously is not in our possession. He hasn't been extradited from Russia. He's still essentially out there and is doing damage to our nation's security, theoretically. But what exactly is the damage when he has stated something that Senator Wyden, the Democrat from Oregon, has openly stated for 2 years now, that the NSA is watching everything we do?
So true. Now, Manning was convicted on 5 espionage counts and on 14 other charges, and he faces a sentence of up to 136 years.
That's ridiculous. I will pardon him when I become president. And if Snowden is arrested by that time, I will pardon him as well. I'm saying this now because I really believe this country needs a new face on foreign policy. We have been led down the primrose pathway of believing that our country can do no wrong. And these men have risked their lives and their futures to try to reveal the underbelly of corruption within our government's ranks. Now, Snowden was a high school dropout that got very close to the top secrets this country possesses. How is that possible? And isn't that an indictment of our entire security system when we allow a high school dropout to have key access to some of the most important secrets our country possesses? And on the heels of this information, we're finding out that people have essentially given away top secrets to 30 different plane designs to hackers. Unknowingly, hitting executable files in their email, they managed to get hacked by hackers from Shanghai, and top secret information has been revealed to the world, all because of bad policies within the framework of our government, and I must blame the two parties for this.
China actually, when they were creating computers, did some hardware hacks where it was basically a Trojan horse inside the hardware, where they would create these Trojan horses that would actually send information back to China. That's one thing that has happened in the past. There's and so should we pull up the story of the hacker that was found dead today, or he died today? He's only 36 years old.
All right, well, we can pull that up. Let's take a look at that. Barnaby Jack. That's right, Barnaby Jack, dead. A celebrated hacker, dead.
He was supposed to be speaking next week at a Black Hat convention in
Right.
Las Vegas. I do not endorse black hat hacking.
No. I don't endorse any hacking, really. And when you think about it, I mean, it's violating national security, but at the same time, it's revealing the underbelly of incompetence in the two-party system, that they'd
And in
allow
our-
this stuff to go on.
In our system in general, one of the
Right.
things that Barnaby Jack was famous for was the whole issue with the healthcare was exposing vulnerabilities in actual medical devices.
Really?
That was what
Well,
he was trying to do.
I'm glad that he is actually remembered in some positive way, but a black hat hacker is not somebody we want to look at positively. I mean, this guy threatened he could kill somebody remotely. Seriously. Anyway, he's dead, and we don't know why. Apparently, the San Francisco Medical Examiner's Office said Jack died in the city on Thursday, gave no details. He was 36 years old. His genius was finding bugs in tiny computers embedded in equipment such as medical devices and banking machines. And he received standing ovations at hacking conventions for his creativity and showmanship. Well,
It was just not.
we're
yeah.
interested in knowing why he died. I'm very concerned about, strange things that are occurring in our country, and we'll have to get to the bottom of that. I mean, there have been a lot of deaths recently, Sarah.
Yeah, today you were just talking about all of that. Right?
Yeah, we were talking about some mysterious deaths that have occurred. Remember Andrew Breitbart? No one ever really found out why the coroner who did the autopsy on Andrew Breitbart died of arsenic poisoning the day he did the autopsy and released it. We don't know why the government isn't pursuing cases like that. There's recent evidence that Michael Hastings, the famous journalist who revealed the story about General McChrystal and Obama not being engaged in Afghanistan, he won a Polk Award for that. M. Hastings won a Polk Award, but he's dead. A few weeks ago, his car was immolated, burning in the middle of an intersection in Florence and Melrose in Hollywood. People said it was only his car involved, and they said it was strange. It was like somebody targeted him with a missile. Why are famous investigative journalists dying in America, folks? These are some of the issues that really are popping up in my mind. But then we have other things to worry about, as if this isn't the end. We got Detroit filing bankruptcy. We've got Detroit filing bankruptcy, and we've got a potential for a problem that where houses are selling so cheap right now
Oh yes.
that we're seeing houses as low as $1. Detroit offers up $1 homes for sale. Check this out, Realtor Mag.
Zoom it in, zoom it out.
Well, I'm going to pull up on this one. I'll show you. For home buyers looking for a
Yeah,
deal.
So people can't even see that on the screen.
Okay, well, let's just bring it up over your face there.
There we go.
You want to get a $1 house, a 3-bedroom, 1,300 square foot fixer-upper, well, you can get it. Detroit has been hard hit by foreclosures and a high unemployment rate for the last few years. Wow. So the average price of a home in Detroit has been below the average price of a new car since 2008. Very interesting. So obviously we got cities like Detroit, Stockton, California, San Bernardino, California. All these cities are facing major bankruptcies as a result of bad management by the Democrats. I'm going to name and blame the Democrats in almost every instance. The budgeting for Democrats involves spending way more money than we have. The pension funds in Detroit alone are one of the reasons why the current Michigan state judge is looking at overturning the bankruptcy, because the pension law in Michigan says that pensions have to be remaining intact. You can't touch pensions. But bankruptcy, I think, supersedes pension funds. The bankruptcy is because the pension funds are too high. We can't keep this democratic funding of pension funds going anymore. It's impossible to keep kissing the butt of about 4 million voters in America. Those pensioners who are collecting pensions as high as $105,000 or more in America are going to be seeing big cutbacks as cities like Detroit go under financially. So expect the municipal bond markets to respond in a negative manner. Municipal bonds are probably going to go down in price and probably get dumped on the market pretty soon because of that. But you thought that was bad, right? Well, it's getting worse. Half the country, more than half the country in a recent poll believe that there is no recovery. The recovery isn't going on. So if most of America believes there isn't a recovery, yet Obama believes there is one, and the Democrats believe that they're somehow creating a stimulus plan for new jobs, yet we don't see any new jobs, we've got a problem here. And we, the voters, are going to have to decide, are we going to continue riding along this dead horse pony, the donkey of democratic thinking? Or are we going to jump on some slow elephant that supports big business and has no new ideas? The Republican Party? We clearly need a new party.
We absolutely do need a new party.
Clearly.
That's why we created America's Third Party, to give people another option.
Now, this wasn't supposed to happen, but
to give you your voice.
I definitely need the link for the video on the sun. And how that disappeared, I don't know, because I didn't touch it.
I will show you what you did.
Okay, let's go there. Ah, there it is. Okay, we're going to play a video. Let's play it right now just to see how it goes. Hit play. And we're going to see after this commercial plays, we're going to play you a video about a story that's breaking about a giant hole in the sun. Now, we have not seen this video. We're going to show it for you with you right now watching it. Have you seen it?
I've read a little bit of the article. I have not seen the video either.
Okay, let's take a look.
I thought only the news made a Swiss cheese. I'm Jen Marco with Buzz 60 on Yahoo. The Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, or SOHO Space Telescope, captured these images of a giant hole in the sun's atmosphere. Because such a hole contains little solar material, it's therefore cooler and darker, making it easy to spot. This one over the sun's north pole is enormous, measuring around 400,000 miles across. That's more than 50 Earths wide.
Wow.
The hole is so big, it appears to take up a quarter of the sun, making the sun look like a giant Pac-Man. While a quarter of the sun appearing missing sounds terrifying, it turns out these atmospheric holes are actually common. They're parts of the sun where the magnetic fields fail to loop back to the sun's surface. And NASA says the hole's location, size, and frequency changes with the sun's 11-year activity cycle, the peak of which is set to hit later this year. And when the sun...
Okay, that's nice. Good to hear. I just don't believe that that's nothing to worry about.
I think
Seriously.
You know, these things have probably been happening. Of course, I'm the anti-conspiracy person.
Right.
But I think that these things have been happening before. It's just now we have the technology to see it.
Okay, so nothing to worry about but a giant hole in the sun. Okay, well, there's nothing we can do about it, right? Nothing. I'm going to go back to the room and find out what you guys are saying.
I don't think there is anything that we can do about it.
Okay, so it comes under the heading of, oh, well, what can we do? Yeah, nothing to worry about. Okay. Well, there is another story that is equally as preposterous, which I might as well mention, being it's out there. Someone's claiming that there are remote viewers listening to Edward Snowden, and he says that there's a potential for a coronal mass ejection going on in September. I mean, I don't believe this stuff. I don't believe this stuff. Coronal mass ejection, but I see a dark hole in the middle of the sun. I'm beginning to worry. All right, so nothing to worry about, everybody. Let's not jump on the bandwagon of hysteria and fear, all right? Thank you. Great, I think it's good. So now, let's take a look at the news in general, and then we'll get on to the government waste in our healthcare industry. Let's just take a quick recap of the news, because this is a daily show.
Hit this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. There are a lot of fearmongers out there, chatters. Yeah, we don't want to be categorized as fearmongers. Okay. According to this article, Manning's conviction seen as making prosecution of WikiLeaks Assange likely. You know, Julian Assange, I have it on pretty good sources, is a guy who likes money. Okay? For some reason, a guy who likes money isn't likely to get convicted on the WikiLeaks scam. I mean, let's face it, the guy, he got a career at RT as a commentator. Russia Today offered him a commentation position. So, I mean, I don't trust Julian Assange at this point. I don't know if he's the real founder of anything at this point. My argument is that WikiLeaks and the Anonymous Group and any other government-backed group could very well be owned and operated by our secret intelligence services like the CIA or the FBI or any number of agencies. They could be now hijacking these groups, using them as disinformation tools. Who knows? That's my supposition. Eileen Brennan dies at 80, the Oscar-nominated woman who starred in Private Benjamin. My condolences go to her family. Okay, and that's about it. Consumer confidence dips a bit. The U.S. consumer confidence fell back in July after hitting a 5-year plus in June. Consumer confidence is being propelled by falsities coming out of the Federal Reserve. They are literally printing up $85 billion a month out of nothing and giving it to mortgage-backed securities, folks. So in no way are we seeing confidence increase at the ground level. You and I are all at the ground level. We definitely are part of what we believe is the growing discontent. In the summer of discontent, it is the growing discontent. Okay, for some reason they finished a BattleCam video, so I'm going to pull off BattleCam and start the broadcast again. Not sure why that happened. But we don't want to lose our viewers at BattleCam.
Yeah, we got
Thank you.
disconnected for some reason.
Never mind. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Now, let's talk about healthcare and the tremendous ripoff going on and how it's going to take people's houses. The cost of healthcare is really the big problem, and that was never addressed under Obamacare. Okay, well, we'll get you video in just a second, folks. Pull that down as well. Hang on. All right, I'm bringing you back video. And for those of you who are watching an archive, we are recording this broadcast so that you can actually watch it at the comfort of your pacing, however you watch things and digest information. We process a lot of information in our show, so we're going to try to take the Obamacare problem on head on right now. Now, last week, we're good. I just brought it up.
You did?
Yeah, I just did that. Last week, Obama postponed the implementation of a certain aspect of Obamacare that would have penalized companies $2,500 for not carrying health care for insurance for their employees. They're doing that because they don't know what to do. You see, Obamacare never thought of business. They never thought of the ultimate net effect on business. And experts who have looked at Obamacare say that with Obamacare's implementation in 2014, you're looking at a possibility of 9 million people who are currently insured with health care insurance through their companies getting dropped. That's what you're looking at. 9 million people getting dropped. This is not the plan that Obamacare was all about. The Obamacare was actually about building 30 million new customers for big healthcare providers and insurance companies. The big healthcare insurance companies were in bed with the Obama group. And SEIU, the Service Employee International Union, was in bed with the Obama group. The SEIU CEO actually visited Obama about 33 times in the first few months of his presidency to try to iron out the details of what he wanted out of the deal. We cannot afford a greater investment in Medicaid, but Obamacare essentially enlarges Medicaid substantially, making it so that the government covers anybody who makes less than $62,000 a year. Interesting, unless of course you own a house like I do, where they would simply put a lien on my house if I got sick and I would lose everything. So there was no safety net, and really the idea of helping people with pre-existing conditions was really central to Obamacare and why they sold it to the American people. I agreed with the idea of helping people with pre-existing conditions, but I thought for sure that there would be a public option to pick up the slack, not rested on the backs of health insurance companies that are barely making a profit in some cases. And now they're going to try to seize the assets of all the small insurance companies. They're going to try to construct commissions that'll cost the taxpayer a lot of money to hire commissioners to look at everybody's profits. It's a total bureaucratic mess, exactly what the Democrats are good at, making bigger government. Now, as a non-Republican, I got to tell you, Republicans haven't been much better either. Even Bush wasn't very effective at downsizing government like he said he was going to do. What we've seen so far from the two parties is more spending, more government waste, and no accountability. That's what we're getting from the two parties. And the reason why we need a third party is emphatically to get oversight, to get some sort of a check and balance in place so that we don't have this massive budget crunch which we're facing right now, and we continue to face. And the Democrats, Republicans are acting like 5% cuts in sequestration are going to help. That's just the tip of the iceberg. This country is spending out left and right. Obama has outspent Bush 3-1, is now acquiring so much debt for this country that we're never going to get out of this under the existing framework of our economy. So clearly we need a brand new plan, and we've got it at America's Third Party. We've got a Homestead Renewal Plan, which is exactly what Tim Geithner, the former Secretary of Treasury, wanted to do 3 years ago. It's to take the existing houses and make them improved, renovated, and give people jobs at the same time. And that's the beauty of the Homestead Renewal Plan that we have. We're going to be able to revive cities like Detroit. Believe it or not, Detroit is the first place we're going to start the Homestead Renewal Plan. and show you that we can take a neighborhood of of houses, buy up a block of houses, and convert them into a brand new gentrified neighborhood, putting a fence around them temporarily in order to protect the houses that we're rebuilding, because there would be looters and people that would steal stuff out of the, I'm sure they'd steal a refrigerator out of a house, no problem, and sell it down the street. We need to get security in place, but once we have that in place, we will be rebuilding these communities, and the people working on the project, I'm not going to call them the projects, but this project, the Homestead Renewal Plan, will actually get $10 an hour doing that. And you don't have to have any skills to do this. You can go paint walls and help with landscaping and carpeting or whatever you do. It's going to be a way in which everybody can chip in and make some money and have the dream of owning a home fulfilled.
I really think the idea of the Homestead Renewal Plan is the way of the future.
I think so,
and
too.
I think that is one of the strongest selling points we have at America's Third Party.
Now, as far as healthcare is concerned, we have a plan to bring in mobile medical units in every city in America, and I've priced this out. I actually believe that we can create mobile medical units in every city in America that would ultimately power up the healthcare industry as a bypass solution. Here's one, a mobile medical unit kind of like the one we want to deploy. This one's out of Minnesota, but imagine even larger units with canopies and a large 50-inch LCD TV on the outside and chairs for everybody to sit and a security guard. Imagine that in every area of the country in a new place every single day, rotating around cities to pick up the slack for ER and trauma care units around the country, lowering the cost of healthcare in America. Because clearly that's the problem, lowering the cost. Now, I anticipate the cost to build 200 of these units in America will be around $1 billion. That's a low estimate, but it's what I'm shooting for. These units will have mobile x-ray systems. They'll have mobile ultrasound systems. They will have electronic blood chemistry analysis on a blood prick of your finger. You'll be able to get a full analysis, and they'll print up a complete nutritional guideline right for you to look at, with including a diet plan on how to live better and healthier, so you won't be a big, huge financial risk for the future. It'll prevent blood problems. It'll prevent heart disease. It'll prevent diabetes. It'll identify sickle cell anemia. It'll get things ahead of time so we can engage preventative health care at the grassroots level, right in cities across the nation. And this will not discriminate. Anybody can go up to one of these units. If you are a VA member or a veteran, you'll be able to get free health care because this will be routed through the Veterans Administration. As your president, I will exercise command of the Veterans Administration and rebuild the VA, making it available for telemedicine vehicles like this to integrate with the current hospitals and make the current hospitals better. So veterans will get free treatment. Average people will pay a copay of about $25. Even illegal aliens will have to pay a copay. But this is a concept that we are proposing on our website that would be a bypass to our healthcare crisis and the rising cost of healthcare.
Yes, exactly. I think it's an excellent idea, and it'll save lots of money in the long term.
Yeah, well, technically we have to cover illegal aliens. The 14th Amendment requires us to serve these people with health care. But the problem is they're going in our...
We don't have to give them extra welfare money.
We don't have to give them welfare. Under the two-party system right now, illegal aliens and non-U.S. citizens and legal immigrants, if you will...
Real PR says, should the illegals pay double?
You know, we're going to ask them to pay a standard copay. And if they don't have any money at all, they have to sign an affidavit. Indefinitely, that affidavit will be checked against any tax records to verify that they have no money. And we'll be doing that the next time they come in as well. But that's something that we have to consider. There are going to be people without a dime. They're going to use this opportunity to get a checkup. But it's not like going into the ER and getting a shower and a day spa event for a lot of people. A lot of people are using the ER to waste money. That's your tax dollars going out into the ER. And when you go to the doctor and you have money, you will get billed for the non-payers that go in there and don't spend any money. And that's the problem with the healthcare system in America in a nutshell. Tremendous amount of corruption that we have to go after, and the two parties have not represented the American people in this case. Obamacare did nothing to reduce healthcare costs. Even Obama admitted it in his last State of the Union address that, well, make no mistake about it, we need to address the rising cost of healthcare. That's the first time he mentioned it, is his last State of the Union address. He never mentioned it 4 years prior. Healthcare increases are off the map. They're skyrocketing. Doctors think they can drive brand new Lexuses every year, while we are suffering without any money to buy even a gallon of milk at Walmart. The problem is so severe that they are living in a pie-in-the-sky mentality, whereas the American people are living down in the dirt, trying to survive. And when we get sick, the last thing we want is somebody ripping us off. Am I right? Of course I'm right. That's you being quiet. Hey, Reverend B, welcome to the show. Well, we're doing something very important, Peace Lord. We're trying to build a political party. So why don't you realize that, and realize that if you get behind this political venture, we will all have a lot more power in government. What is wrong with you people? Don't you understand that I'm giving my intelligence and my time and my energy and my commitment to this nation every single day? What is wrong with you? Seriously. This is a case where we have a need for collective power. We cannot possibly sit back and say, well, gosh, if I were out there and helping people at the local hospital as a candy striper, I'd be more effective. That's just not going to happen. I'm not going to leave my post at America's Third Party, and I'm not going to give up this race for the presidency. So you might as well bag it, all right? Thank you. Now, Reverend B has mentioned that, if I wanted to run for a local office, and I've got a big challenge from the Democrats who support the flybys with these jets. If I wanted to run for local office, he said he'd probably get behind us. He'd give us some funding to do that. So there is a possibility that we could run for a local office, U.S. House of Representatives, and take on the Democrat that is allowing the Air Force to fly over our heads and basically break our eardrums. And he says he would, see? And he sees the need for a local election to get America's Third Party off the ground. And frankly, I agree with you, Reverend B. That's why Sarah ran in 2008 as a third party candidate and got 5% of the vote here in the 10th District in Washington State. We realized that we could pull 5% of the vote, but we really need at least 25 to 50% of the vote to make a big difference. But I think I could win too. Yeah, thank you, Reverend B. All right, so any other issues that come up about healthcare, would we like to interact with the chat? Any of you have real healthcare nightmares you'd like to come on and talk about? You're welcome to do that. A lot of you are being over-medicated. I don't support Big Pharma. I don't support what they're doing to the American people with over-medication and the synergistic effects we have. Some people, like guys my age who are on multiple drugs, they can't even have sex without taking Viagra. I'm not making a joke here. This is real. People my age are having problems enjoying their bodies because they are so full of meds for other reasons, whether it's depression or manic depression or God knows what people are suffering from, but they're being over-medicated. That's a serious problem. Another thing that will really help. Okay, thank you, Potty and B. 14 pills a day. Okay, good to know. Another thing that might help is how you eat. And I want to give this little bit of wisdom off to all of you before the end of this particular segment. Studies in gerontology have proven that if you cut your intake of food in half, you'll live twice as long.
I'll start doing that tomorrow.
I know, I just had a big buffet today. And
I really should not do that anymore.
Well,
so then I can live twice as long.
Well, I mean, I don't eat that much on the other days, so it's not that big of a deal. But okay, I did enjoy myself today at a nice buffet, but that's what we do. But the reality is, if you do cut your intake in half, you probably will live twice as long. Also, cutting out hard sugar in your diet. That is essentially correct. Reverend B is confirming this. If you cut out hard sugar in your diet, modern gerontologists are saying that very likely will live longer. It reduces the incidence of diabetes. It helps your cells become more elastic and withstand disease and live longer. So this is a very interesting side note. So healthcare itself is in of itself something that all of us need to think about, because as we get older, we have to start realizing that it's costly. And I got to tell you, I don't have health insurance. I don't. Sarah has a group plan through the local state of Washington, but I don't have health insurance. Am I worried? Not really. I'm not really that worried, but I'm worried about other people not having health insurance. I live a really good life, and I take great care of myself, and I've been eating a diet plan that's pretty holistic in nature, and I think I'll probably do okay. But you never know. You never know. I could come down with ringing in my ears, and the doctors could say, David, you've got some sort of, medical problem with your brain. I don't know. It could come like a thief in the night. You don't know. And the last thing you want to do is rely on criminals, corruption in the medical healthcare community. That's what it seems to be. The Hippocratic Oath seems like the hypocritical oath, because they don't seriously care about the people when they rip them off. Now, I know there are good doctors out there like Reverend B here. I'm not saying doctors are innately bad. I'm saying that we need to be aware that, look, when you go to a doctor, or better yet, when you go to a hospital, your chances of dying increase dramatically. The number of hospital-borne infections is through the map, over the roof. And down the road, we're talking about 1 million hospital-borne infections in America every year. 250,000 people die of staph infections. And nothing is getting done. The government has done nothing to clean up the hospitals, done nothing to prevent infections in wards and with doctors using bad sterile technique, nothing. So what I plan on doing as president is instigating a program through the VA, again through the VA, we're going to start there, that goes floor by floor and does a non-toxic disinfection of the entire floor, right down to the ventways and the air ducts, everything. And we'll be moving patients out of that area temporarily while we clear that floor and the vent ducts up until the next floor. And then we'll do the next floor, and then we'll do the vent ducts. And we'll do everything we can to stop hospital-borne infection in America, starting with the VA. That is my solemn promise. All of this is recorded. We're doing a live recording. We're live, world famous IC.
It will be recorded and posted on our YouTube video, which is youtube.com/America's Third Party. But right now we're live. And we have a question coming in from one of our chat rooms from James, who asks, what would you do for Detroit?
Detroit is going to see the first step of our homestead renewal plan. Detroit will see the first stage of our homestead renewal plan. Michigan is a unique state in that they allow the state to receive money from the federal government to buy up houses. That's already in place. The state government of Michigan has this in place. Obama has not utilized a program effectively within the HUD program. HUD, Housing and Urban Development, has a program called the HOME program, which is identical to what the Homestead Renewal Plan is for the most part. We can retrofit the HOME program to work in Detroit immediately, buy up foreclosed blocks of houses, put a fence around those blocks of houses that are all next to each other, making sure that we just get a contiguous group of houses so there's nobody's living in the middle of them. And then we rebuild that whole section and have a brand new renovation on board, where we turn these houses, we buy them for under $5,000 a piece, and ultimately we'll be able to sell them for around $50,000 a piece. And we'll gentrify the entire Detroit area. This is going to build jobs too, because there are jobs, shovel-ready jobs, ready in this program. $10 an hour, anybody who's willing can work, simply painting walls, you can start making money right away. And it'll be kind of a group effort. There'll be a supervisor on each site to oversee everything, and he'll be working with journeyman plumbers and carpenters and carpet layers and people that know what they're doing, who will be working for slightly more than $10 an hour. They'll be working for $20 an hour. But there are a lot of retirees that could do this too, and many of them might even donate their time. And your donation will be a cash award that you can gift to somebody in your family who's never had a house, who qualifies, or to somebody in need who qualifies. So if you're a retiree, it's very much like the Habitat for Humanity concept, except it pays. And it will end up giving the government a chance to flip houses. And whenever we do a large section of houses like condominiums or a motel that's condemned, we'll be able to keep ownership of that motel or that condo or that apartment complex. And we'll be able to use the Section 8 vouchers that we currently give to slumlords. We keep that money. So the government then loops the money, saving a tremendous amount of tax dollars. This is a way in which our government is going to run more efficiently. I don't want to give thousands and millions of dollars to slumlords like Obama did. Lots of carpet, that's right. And it'll be Berber, Don. Very durable Berber carpeting. We're going to get a large vat of it, buy in bulk from Home Depot and Lowe's and other providers and box stores, and we'll be able to make a lot of this stuff available to people at a much lower cost. So a house for $50,000 that you can pay for in 10 years at $500 a month payments is very real. you will own your own house in 10 years, and we'll have other plans where you can lease them for less than that, where you can pay like $350 a month and lease your house with a 99-year lease. Thank you. Okay, we got friends and visitors from all over. Again, you can come into our chat show. It's at the video chat link at our website, americasthirdparty.com. The chat show is available, but you need a password now to get in. So if you come into our chat show and want to get in, like Carl did earlier, we will bring you up on our main show. We aren't doing that right now, but we have a password now to prevent hackers from coming in and pretending to be something they're not. You know, I've got all these people trying to spam and attack our show. So yes, homeless guy is diagnosed as schizophrenic, and that's why he receives disability. Thank you, censor. And there's nothing wrong if somebody's got some serious disabilities. There's nothing wrong with them collecting a certain amount of money. The problem with homeless guy is he only gets $700 a month, and he can't buy a house for that. He can't even rent a motel room for that. So how in the world are we going to get these people to live in a house that's affordable other than fix up motels and put kitchenettes in every room? And pretty soon we will see places for people to live. Now, for the spillover of all the foreclosures that are coming down the pike because of Barack Obama's neglect in the housing sector, we're going to have tent cities in every city in America, temporarily housing people. There will be no fences around these cities, okay? Forget that concept. That's insane. Everything will be open, and you'll be able to access fresh water. We're going to have chemical toilets, and we'll have hot showers, portable hot showers on every location, every tent city in America. That's part of another response unit that I'm going to develop through the U.S. military, through the Civil Defense Corps. That's an organization, the Army Corps of Engineers will be working on that when I became president. This will be active, and we'll be dealing with a tremendous spillover of a lot of people losing their houses. And by the way, with the Homestead Renewal Plan, the first option will go to the last people that own that house. So if you were foreclosed on and that happened to be your house in Detroit or whatever city, you will have the first right of refusal on that house. This is what we're doing. This is a podcast. We are not doing this. No, Sarah is running as my partner. She's my vice presidential choice for the White House in 2016. And any last words from Sarah, feel free to talk, because I've been talking your ear off.
So I just want to encourage everybody to check out our website, americasthirdparty.com. While you're there, sign up to be an elector. Electors are the people who vote in the Electoral College. So the way the election works is everybody goes to vote in November in the general election for president. That's called the general election. If the person on the ballot wins the general election, so say David's on the ballot and he wins the general election in your state, then the electors sworn to David would vote for David in the Electoral College, which happens after the general election. So one thing we definitely need in place is electors in every state, so you can do that at americasthirdparty.com/elector.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, if you want a password to get into our video chat, go there,
and then
we'll give it to you. We'll PM it to you, yeah. Okay, good.
Okay, I will.
Yep, so simply go to our website, americasthirdparty.com, subscribe, sign up. You'll see the elector. Click that button and add your address. If you don't want your address out there, you don't want to become an elector. In order to become an elector, you have to give us your address because we need it for FEC reasons. Federal Election Commission requires it. We have to have the address of anybody who's an elector. All right, go to our main website, americasthirdparty.com. And if you can't find it, go to americathirdparty.com, because we own that too. We have americanthirdparty.com, we have americanthirdparty.net, americasthirdparty.org. We own them all. All right, great. Well, hopefully tomorrow night, Wasteful Wednesday, we'll be discussing some of the bigger problems in the government. The waste that our government is costing us is over the top. It's almost as though the Federal Reserve, with all the printing of the money that they're doing, has given the government like a blank check to just charge as much as they can, as fast as they can, before they bankrupt the entire nation. That's what it seems like to us. And that's probably why the Department of Homeland Security just ordered 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition, 2,717 armored carriers to be used in America. because they've got a blank check and they think they can just charge more and more. Department of Homeland Security budget for 2014 will be $72 billion and climbing. This is an organization that did not exist 12 years ago. You're getting a flyover from a jet right now.
Debbie says the workforce needs to be educated on building homes, and I agree with you absolutely that the workforce does need to be educated on building homes. So we will be doing training people as they're building.
Now, as far as anything like a brand new build, we don't do the kind of things that extreme home makeover shows do, where they take everything down and send it to a landfill and you never see it again. Well, check out the landfill. It's a pile of waste. We want to make sure that the house is completely destroyed before we scrub it and get rid of it. We don't want to just dump houses that are perfectly nice from the stick frame up and just get rid of them. We believe that if you've got stick frame up there, you could probably work with it, put new insulation and new drywall up, new sheetrock. I'd rather work with the bones of an existing house than to rip it all down and start again. I think that's a terrible waste. So the Homestead Renewal Plan is not a new house construction plan. It's a renovation plan. But thanks for asking about that. Yeah, well, the landfill basically is going to have to be capped, and we're going to have to grow methane inside the landfill because there's not a lot we can do with it. A lot of landfills in America could actually create a lot of good, useful methane gas. It's probably the only thing we can do right now to deal with the aftermath of years of pollution. And on one side note, it's worthy to note that the Navy still dumps all of its waste in the ocean. Now that's something that will stop when I become president. We are going to recycle naval waste. Everything that comes in and out of an aircraft carrier or destroyer group will be going in and out the proper channels. We are not going to throw it into the ocean and create even more garbage in the Pacific Ocean. It's a terrible problem. And for our Navy to be doing this is absolutely ridiculous. Obama should have done something to stop that. All right, thank you very much for coming in, and we will be talking to you again soon. But do check our shows out every single night, 6 to 8 p.m., and our after show from 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, James, oh, thank you. Thank you very much.